To get us on the right track with this question and help you solve it, I would like to quote Nelson Mandela. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. So let's approach this assessment test question with determination and perseverance, recognizing that each obstacle we overcome brings us closer to success. You're presented with 3 buckets. Buckets are hanging from the strings, and you need to determine which bucket is the heaviest if all buckets are fixed to equal lengths flexible string. You have 4 choices. Choices are A, B, C, and last but not least, choice D, neither. The only thing obvious here is that this question may seem daunting at first, but I know you have the skills and creativity to tackle it. Trust in your abilities, and let's explore all possible solutions together. Let's tackle it as a team. Are you ready to show your answer? I have no doubts that together we will decode this tough question, and I hope you did give it a try. Remember that every attempt, regardless of the outcome, contributes to your growth and development. To get to the answer, let's first look at the question in more details. We have 3 buckets. Each bucket is connected to the string connectors with the string of the same length. All string connectors are on the same string line, and what we can visually see is that bucket A is in the highest position, bucket B is a little bit lower, and the bucket C is in the lowest position. What does it tell us? What we know from physics is that when multiple objects are suspended from the flexible string, they will settle into the state of equilibrium. In the state of equilibrium, the tension in the string will be equal at all points along its length. However, due to the differences in weight, the heavier bucket will exert a greater downward force on the string compared to the lighter buckets. As a result, the heavier bucket will cause more tension in the string, causing it to sag lower compared to the lighter buckets. This visual cue of the lower position of the bucket C can give you an impression that the bucket C is heavier, even though it may or may not be the case in the reality. But here's the caveat. This would only be true if the distance between string connectors would be the same. This introduces another consideration here, because distance A for the bucket A is greater than distance B, which is greater than distance C for the bucket C. Because the distance shortens between the string connectors, and distance A is greater than distance B, which is greater than distance C, this might explain why bucket B and bucket C is lower still. But it becomes obvious that because the distance between connector shortening, it's impossible to determine which bucket is the heaviest, since shortening of the distance from A to C can explain lower positioning of the bucket, even if buckets would have the same weight. Think about it, because it's very logical. Even if the buckets would be of the same weight, by shortening the distance between string connectors, you will be able to lower the bucket. Based on this, I can conclude that the correct answer here is choice D, neither. But this question is not as obvious. Do you have different considerations? Please make sure to share your thoughts and rationale in comments so we can all learn. Here's an amazing question to test your knowledge of mechanical movement of objects. You're presented with the picture of person moving the object, and you need to determine if all objects weigh the same, which one will be easiest to move forward if the same person is pushing with equal force. You need to select one out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, person moving forward a cube. Choice B, person moving forward a hexagon. Choice C, person moving forward a ball. And last but not least is neither one. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution, and obviously if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. Let's analyze all shapes individually to better understand the answer. Let's start with the cube. Cube typically has a symmetrical weight distribution, which can contribute to its stability when moving on the ground. However, due to its edges and corners, a cube can experience higher levels of friction when compared to objects with rounded shapes and will be hard to roll. most likely way of moving the cube forward would be pushing it, which will create a lot of resistance. Now let's look at the hexagon. Hexagon has 6 sides, and the shape can vary depending upon the specific dimensions and proportions. Compared to a cube, a hexagon generally has fewer edges and corners, which reduces the friction and makes it easier to move on the ground by rolling. Even though it might be easier to move than the cube, the ease of movement will also depend on the specific dimensions and weight distribution of the hexagon. Which brings us to choice C, sphere or ball, which typically has a smooth surface. The absence of edges and corners reduces the contact area with the ground, which results in a lower friction. This makes it easier to move the ball forward by rolling on the ground, compared to objects with edges or corners. This is why choice C is correct. It will have minimum friction and will facilitate smooth movement with minimum resistance. Let's look at the question where you need to determine the trajectory after parachutists jump from the plane. Obviously, based on the wind and other external conditions, there would be multiple choices, but fortunately, you need to select only one out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, and C. And if none of the choices A, B, and C is correct, you need to select choice D, which would represent neither one. Take a close look to see what is the parachutist's trajectory after jumping from the plane. I have full confidence in your skills and knowledge, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. To better understand the answer, we need to determine what changes from when parachutist is inside the plane and when parachutist jumps from the plane. When parachutist is inside the plane, both the parachutist and the airplane are moving together in the same direction. When parachutist jumps from the plane, there are multiple forces that will determine the trajectory. Number 1 is inertia. According to Newton's first law of motion, the law of inertia, the parachutist will continue moving forward in the direction of the plane. Initially, the parachutist will have the velocity they had inside the plane, but they will slow down over time due to air resistance. Another force that will define the trajectory is the force of gravity. As soon as the parachutist leaves the plane, they will be subject to the force of gravity. Gravity pulls the parachutist downward toward the earth. And the last force that will drive the trajectory would be acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity is the force that pulls objects toward the earth. When something is in the air, gravity causes it to fall toward the ground. The acceleration due to gravity is always the same for all objects near the Earth's surface, and it means that objects will fall faster and faster the longer they fall. So let's look closely at what's going to happen after parachutist jumps. After jumping, the parachutist initially maintains the horizontal velocity due to inertia. Once outside the airplane, they accelerate downward due to gravity until they reach terminal velocity. The deployment of the parachute increases air resistance, allowing for controlled descent, allowing parachutists to land safely. The closest answer that describes the solution is choice A. Is this what you got in your answer? If not, please make sure to post your solution and rationale in comments so we can all learn. Let's face it, cracking this particular question is like teaching a giraffe to limbo. A tall order, but once you bend your mind around it, the success is a real stretch. This question might be secretly measuring our ability to handle mental acrobatics to deal with unusually looking shapes. Speaking about shapes, you're presented with 4 shapes, and 3 of them are very unusual, and you need to determine which shape has the longest perimeter. Your goal is to select the answer out of 4 possible choices. Choices A, B, C, and D. You feel like you stumbled upon a tough task? Well, you are not alone in this journey. I feel exactly the same way. But whether you're a problem-solving veteran or a newcomer, I believe in your capabilities. Take a moment to reflect, tap into your creativity, and let's tackle this challenge together. Your answer is just waiting to be discovered. Are you ready with your solution? If you need a little help, gear up for the explanation. Together, we will unravel the complexities of this question. I will ask you for a favor though, and specifically to share your thought process in comments. Your insights might hold the key for all of us to learn and improve. To solve this challenge, let's look at some important considerations. You might have noticed that all shapes here consist of the same square building block. But because shapes are so dramatically different, perimeter of the shape can be calculated in two different ways. The first way is to calculate the total length of the boundaries. The example here might be shape C. And the second way to calculate the perimeter might be sum of length of all of the sides. An example of the shape might be square, which is represented by shape A. Because the squares are all the same, we can assume that we can use square as one unit in the calculation. For example, the rightmost side in the shape C could be calculated as 4 units, and the rightmost side in the square would consist of 3 units. To calculate the perimeter of shape A, we need to sum up both of its sides and multiply it by 2. 3 plus 3 in parentheses multiplied by 2 equals 12. Perimeter of shape A can be measured as 12 units. Now let's look at shape B. Here we need to manually count the boundary squares. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, and 20. So perimeter for shape B consists of 20 units. Same thing is for shape C. Please verify my math, and if I made a mistake, post it in comments. But shape D is different. Let's do the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 21, and 22. Which means that the shape's D perimeter is the longest with 22 units. So the correct answer here is choice D. Here's an absolutely brilliant and at the same time very tricky question, but I have full confidence that you'll be able to solve it. You need to determine which item is the heaviest. And you're presented with 4 possible choices. Choice A, 2 pounds of iron. Choice B, 2 pounds of cotton. Choice C, 2 pounds of potatoes. And last but not least, choice D, neither one. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. I am pretty sure you already have an answer by now, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the solution. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might have figured out, all 3 objects, 2 pounds of iron, 2 pounds of potatoes, and 2 pounds of cotton, will have the same weight. The explanation for this is that the weight of an object is determined by the force of gravity acting on it, and this force is proportional to the mass of the object. Since all 3 objects have a mass of 2 pounds, they will experience the same gravitational force and therefore will have the same weight. But the confusion here is that the density of these objects is different. Density is a measure of how much mass is packed into a given volume. Iron is much denser than potatoes or cotton. This is why, if you have to compare the volume occupied by each object, the iron will take up less space than the potatoes or the cotton. Presented images are very misleading and were designed to confuse you. So the correct answer here is choice D, neither object, since neither object is the heaviest. Here's the challenging problem by solving which you will boost your cognitive abilities. You're presented with 5 hints, and using these hints, you need to unlock the code and open the lock. The hints are: in the digits 248, only 1 digit is correct and well placed. In the digits 845, 2 digits are correct but not correctly placed. In the digits 461, only 1 digit is correct and it is correctly placed. In the digits 592, only 1 digit is correct and it is well placed. And last but not least, hint that in the digits 904, none of the digits are correct. To open the lock, you need to process all the hints and select 1 out of 4 possible choices. Choice A, 518. Choice B, 485. Choice C, 418. And last but not least, choice D, 568. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. I'm pretty sure you're done solving it by now, so I'm moving forward to share with you my version of the answer and solution. And if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might have guessed, you solve this problem through elimination. And I'm going to start with the hint number 5 because it's the most helpful of all. Once we've learned that in combination 904 none of the digits are correct, we can eliminate 2 possible answers. We can eliminate both choices B and C because both of them have digit 4, which is an incorrect digit. Let's continue elimination to get to the correct answer. If we look through the remaining 4 hints, we learn that in hint 1, where digits are 2, 4, 8, only 1 digit is correctly placed, which is digit 8. In hint 2, 2 digits are correct, but they're not correctly placed, and they're digits 8 and 5. In hint 3, only 1 digit 6 is correct, and it is correctly placed. And last but not least, in hint 4, digit 5 is correct, and it is well placed. Based on this, the correct answer here is choice D, 5, 6, 8. Do you have any hints to show how to best solve these types of challenges? If you do, please make sure to post them in comments. I love this question because it truly tests your knowledge of mechanical engineering. You're presented with acrobat and the weight on a seesaw. You need to determine in which direction should the acrobat move his body to balance the seesaw. And you only have 2 choices. Choice A to the left or choice B to the right. Take a close look to see if you can come up with the answer. On my end, I am moving forward to share with you my version of the answer. And obviously, if you have a better way to solve it, please make sure to post in comments. As you might be well aware, the seesaw is an example of a lever where fulcrum is between the effort and the load. In our example, we have a weight on the left side of the seesaw and acrobat on the right side of the seesaw. The key principle of balancing the seesaw is when a force is applied to the end of the lever can lift the weight at the other end. For the seesaw to be balanced, the torque applied to the acrobat must increase. Since the acrobat's weight is constant, the only way to increase the input torque is by increasing the distance from the fulcrum. If acrobat moves in the direction B, this will shift the acrobat's center of gravity further from the fulcrum, resulting in a greater torque, thereby balancing it. So the correct answer here is choice B, moving the acrobat to the right. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you for helping us to become one of the largest YouTube channels to help people become smarter, increase your IQ, and to pass any test. If the content of this video was helpful, please make sure to click the like button to help YouTube algorithm promote this video and help other people to find it faster. Giving us a like is also a way for you to tell us that you need more content like this, and when you tell us, we will deliver it for you in the future. For links to free and premium resources, please check the description and comments of this video. You can also go directly to our website, howtoanalyzedata.net, to download the materials related to this topic. I really appreciate your endorsement, support, and patronage of this channel. And thank you for considering to become a member and considering to subscribe. Please leave feedback, suggestions, or corrections in comments. And all the best on your journey. I'll see you in my next video.